These are all the things I wish I knew in my 20s. Hi guys, welcome back to the Make Life Beautiful podcast. You're here with Wendy and I just had my birthday. My birthday's on January 9th. I'm a Capricorn, if you guys believe in the zodiac sign things, which I totally do. And there's something about your birthday that makes you reflect on your whole life. Like every year, I reflect back. And I just turned 37, which is crazy, right? Like I am past my mid 30s already, even though I feel like I'm still 25, but just like a lot wiser. And these are all the things that I thought about that I wish I could have taught my 20-year-old self to have my 20s run smoother. Of course, I don't regret any of my choices, but I'm hoping the things I'm going to share with you today is going to really help you guys in your 20s. If you're under 20s and you're really young, honestly, it's good to know what's coming up. And if you're over 30s, either you're going to relate to what I'm going to tell you today, or you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's what I felt like in my 30s. So don't forget to let me know if you guys agree with any of the things I'm saying today. But yeah, I'm just hoping this will help some of you guys out there. And if you guys love the content and want to support this channel, there's a join button for the YouTube community. It really helps me out and you get to contribute topics to the podcast, and I'll reply every single one of your comments, and you get like a little special badge next to your name. But honestly, it just helps me make better content for you guys and be able to share and help you guys a little bit more. I also have one exciting announcement which I will share with you guys a little bit later on, but let's jump into the lessons I wish I knew when I was in my 20s. So guys, first of all, I just want to start off by saying like 30s is not old. I get so many comments. I don't know if it's because of the platforms I am on or the audience that I already have, but everyone constantly, when they find out my age, they're like, one, you're as old as, my mom, because a lot of my original audience was very young. The second thing I get was like, you're just old. But then the third thing I get is like, you don't look your age. But I don't actually think that now that I'm in my 30s, that 30s is that old, because I see my friends around me and honestly, they don't really look that much older than when I remember them. Maybe I am biased because I've seen them grow up. And also a lot of my friends are Asian, and as they say, Asian don't raisin. But I honestly don't think 30s is old. And I think we're kind of an ageist society. Like we've come a long way with, racism and inclusion, gender kind of inclusion as well, and gender identities and sexual orientation. But I think we haven't come a long way when it comes to age. There's still a lot of comments I get like, you're too old for X or you're too old for Y. It's like when we turn 30s or 40s or 50s, suddenly we're not allowed to do a bunch of things that we used to be allowed to do. And I don't think that's right. And if you look at old cultures and society a while ago, older people used to be respected for their wisdom and their experience. And I feel like we've just lost a little bit of that. Maybe it's the Western culture, because I think in the East and Asian culture where I grew up, older people are still very much respected for their wisdom, and young people still actually respect and listen to a lot of their older counterparts. But I feel like in the Western society, we've lost that. We celebrate youth a lot more. And I just don't think, your 30s, 40s, or 50s is literally that old and suddenly you are not allowed to do things. One thing that I am particularly sensitive about with my age in my 30s is I love music, being a music artist, making pop music in particular. And a lot of people think making pop music and being a pop star and music artist in your 30s is too old. And I think that's a very industry thing. Like, I feel like the music industry, they start celebrities and entertainers and musicians very, very young, because they can make a lot of money from them throughout their career. If they invest in someone when they're in their teens, they can milk a lot of their career. And basically, it's just a great business decision. But I don't think that being in your 30s makes you a worse music artist. In fact, I feel like it makes you more mature. It makes you a better role model for a lot of people because of the experience and the wisdom that you have gained. You sing a lot more about things that I feel like are better influences because you're not in your era where you're making a lot of mistakes. Sure, maybe if you're young, you may not be able to relate to it as much, but I think creating entertainment, music, art only gets better with age because of what you can share. Anyways, let me know if you guys kind of think about the same things, but that's what I think about. I think women in particular are very, very judged when they get older. But I feel like older actresses, older musicians, older, women, they're great role models, and there's something elegant about older women where like they just look more confident and sure of themselves. And that's something I felt coming into my 30s, mid 30s and older, that I've just gotten this confidence and this, I don't know, newfound like not caring what other people think that I don't feel like I had in my 20s. In my 20s, it was marked by a lot of insecurity. And that's a good and a bad thing because I think we all have to go through that to learn and to grow. So that's my little rant about ageism that I've kept for a long time. But I'm just going to jump into my first lesson. And the first lesson is your career decision is not that big a deal. I remember in my 20s finding my first job and choosing like what company I wanted to work for and what kind of career and role that I was going to take literally ruled my life. Because a lot of us in our 20s do focus on our career. This is the time to what we think make it. But that's untrue. If I could do my 20s again, I would tell myself that your career decision is really not that important because as I've grown, I've changed my career multiple times. And I know so many people that I know have done that too. And the career decision is actually quite reversible. Sometimes you think making that decision in your 20s, like you're stuck doing that for like the rest of your life. And I disagree. I feel like now with the landscape of being able to get education online or learn things from YouTube or internet sources or other people, online courses and everything like that, it makes being able to switch a career much easier than it used to be. And it's okay to change a career every 1 or 2 years. In your 20s, that's the time you should be using to explore, not lock yourself into this like rest of your life thing, but really to be trying different vocations, just learning about yourself, learning about what your skills are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you like, what you don't like, what kind of work lifestyle you prefer, and what you don't. And if you don't try a bunch of things and you kind of corner yourself into one career, one type of job, one type of role, you don't really get to learn about yourself as much as if you just like tried a whole bunch of things. And I think I wish I did that more. And I guess I did do that. In my 20s, I was an accountant for 4 years. And then I was in social media consulting. Then I did head of marketing and worked in startups and tech. And then I became a YouTuber. And then I also became a musician and artist. And then I became a general creator and entertainer. So I did a lot of things in my 20s, and I wouldn't change that for the world. And what I'm really excited to announce today, if this is kind of what you're vibing with, is I started a course called the Creator Mindset course. And one of the things I wish I had more in my 20s is more access to courses from experienced people that know what they're talking about. So I decided to create a creative mindset courses for those people that are kind of interested in being a creator, but may not know a creator or want to find out more about what the lifestyle's like, what the journey's like, what kind of mindset you need to have, what kind of skills, what kind of strengths and weaknesses you need to have to be a great creator, and whether being a creator kind of suits you and whether it is the right career path for you. So for me, I jumped into it and I didn't really have anyone to talk to be like, hey, is this the right path for me? I just kind of had to go in and get my hands dirty and just do it. And I think, something where I could prepare myself and learn a bit more about myself before I jumped into being a full-time creator, it would have accelerated my process and career a lot quicker. So if this is something you are interested in, go to makelifebeautiful.today. This is my website with all my courses that I'm going to do. You'll also see a one-on-one coaching workshop as well. If you are an established creator that wants to take your business to the next level, that might be something you're interested in. I'll be working with you one-on-one on a complete content strategy that's customized for you. But if you're just like a beginner and you're like, maybe I could be a creator, I've always wanted to do this, or maybe you've made just like a couple videos and just want to get more serious about it and want to really learn more, this is the perfect course for you. Like, I made so many mistakes being a creator and wasted so much money testing things out and trying things out that I wish I could have just paid for a online course where I could just accelerate that process and have someone to work with. And for the first month, guys, it's going to be discounted for you guys. It's going to go back to the regular price next month. So if you are a YouTube member and join my YouTube community, I'm giving you guys a 50% off coupon code in there. And if you guys want to access the 30% off coupon code, just sign up to my newsletter at makelifebeautiful.today and you'll get emailed a 30% off coupon code, which you can use for this month. These coupon codes won't be working next month. I just wanted to do a little celebration for the first month of me launching this course. And what I'm going to be doing as a bonus for the first month of this course is to do a private coaching session with the group of you guys that have started the course this month, where I'll answer any questions you have after you've done your course. Like, this will be one-on-one time with me, coaching time. This is absolutely free for you for joining the course. This is the only time I'm going to be doing it. Otherwise, we will have better courses that I'm going to create later that will do more in-depth, intensive group coaching, which will be exciting. So again, if you're interested in this, makelifebeautiful.today, I've linked it as well on my YouTube video down below in the description. And guys, I am so excited to start my journey in mentoring a bunch of you guys to be creators and to kind of have the life that I have right now. Because for me, after I turned 37, I'm like, this is when I want to bring people up and help people get there, which is going to be really fulfilling for me. That's what I discovered I wanted to do. Honestly, that's what happened in the past year. So the other thing I wish I could have told myself in my 20s is you can still have more fun. There's some weird misconception that I had growing up, and I don't know if you guys share the same sentiment, but it's kind of like you have to do all the traveling, all the partying, and all the fun things in your 20s. But I don't think that's true. I mean, there are certain clubs that you probably don't want to be in when you're 30 and maybe get that out of your system when you're 20. You know, I feel like traveling and exploring the world and doing a lot of things in your 30s is so much better than in your 20s because you have more money and you can do it in style, in comfort, in class. And you can actually, when you're in a country and you're traveling, you can do more experiences when you have more money. I remember traveling in my 20s. It's a completely new experience, and I guess everyone has different tastes, but you're always like kind of budgeting and penny pinching, and there are things that you wanted to do in a certain country that you literally can't do because like you can't afford it, right? And so in your 30s, it's like you can, and you can have a lot more fun. So I don't think there's any rush to go and do everything and have all the fun in your 20s. The only exception is if you do plan on starting a family, for the first couple of years, it would be hard to go travel while you have small kids and everything like that. So of course, everyone's path is different. But honestly, I see a lot of people in their 30s having just as much fun in their 20s. The fun does look different, but it's not like your life ends at 30 and like you have to pack it all in your 20s. In fact, in your 20s, I think it's really good to pace yourself with the fun and then spend some time on your career and really building yourself out and investing in your own skills and talents. In your 20s, that's when you get a lot of skills and knowledge, and you still have the energy and the learning capacity to really grind, as they say. But like, I learned a lot in my 20s, and I don't think I would have had the same amount of energy to learn that in my 30s. So I think if I spent a lot of my 20s having a ton of fun and then trying to learn new skills in my 30s, it's not like it's impossible. But for some reason in your 20s, your brain is just like a sponge, and you just sponge experience and skills and talent. Investing in experiences in your career in your 20s will really set yourself up financially in your 30s so that you can really have a lot of fun and enjoy the comforts and not be stressed in your 30s. The other thing I realized is like in your 20s, you are completely brainwashed. What I mean by this is like when I think about the decisions I made in my 20s and what I felt and what I thought, I was like brainwashed by my parents, my friends, and society. Like I did not really think for myself in my 20s. Like I thought I was thinking for myself in my 20s, but when I actually reflect back on it, a lot of the things that I thought was like told to me by someone else. And I really wasn't in a position where I was really making my own decisions for myself. And this is something that I focus a lot in my creator mindset course, is to really teach you and go through exercises to help you think for yourself. Because I realized my first initial career choices were not made by me. It was made by what I thought society wanted of me, what my parents wanted of me, what would make me a good person, what would make me seem like a successful person. It was a lot of posturing for other people rather than living my own life. I was really living for everyone around me. And I think it's because in your 20s, it's like that insecurity where you're really not that sure of yourself. So instead of like being convicted by what you really think, it's like you default to what other people want of you, because the validation and all the attention you get from doing what other people want you to do just feels so good in your 20s. And it kind of overshadows you chasing what you want. At that time, you don't really know what it feels like to kind of do whatever you want, because you spent your whole teens obviously under the guidance of your parents. You don't really have your own autonomy. You're not really an adult. So you've never been trained to like think for yourself. You just know how to listen to someone, how to follow rules, how to follow school rules, how to follow society rules, how to fit in with your friends and your peer group so you can be popular. It's just listening to everyone else instead of your own heart. So yeah, I was completely brainwashed in my 20s. I think you just kind of have to go through it to realize that you are brainwashed. But you know, becoming more aware of it, like now, if you're like younger than 30s, like even becoming aware of it now, anytime, is like a good thing to be aware of, because it's like getting back that control over your life. And moving on to the next lesson, it kind of just like naturally flows from that. Other people's opinion are just opinions. They're not fact. Throughout my whole 20s, I took people's opinions so seriously, even like comments other people made of me, or you know, things people would say about me, I would take it so seriously that I treated them like they were facts rather than opinions, because for some reason you just care a lot more. And the older you get, the less you care. Trust me, the less you care. I totally do not care what other people think. Like I still do, obviously, but like the percentage I care is like 10%. So if you're out there taking people's opinions seriously, like no, just like stop that. If you're in your 20s, really think about when someone says something about you, like, is it really true though? Or is it them projecting themselves onto you? Because I remember, guys, when I started my YouTube channel and I made my videos, my friends thought that I couldn't make it. They literally would just be like, haha, this is like a fun hobby. How cute. This is never gonna turn into anything. And I remember meeting like YouTubers that were like slightly bigger than me, like 30,000 subscribers. I literally had like a couple hundred, and they would kind of look down on me and be like, And that made me feel like it wasn't in me to become a big YouTuber. And the sad thing was, I actually believed them for a while because I thought their opinions were facts. But they weren't facts. They were just opinions. And luckily, I broke through that and was able to work through it and really believe in myself. Because imagine if I lived my whole life believing their opinions. Like, wow, my life would turn out so differently. And if you grew up with Asian parents, and I did a whole podcast and video on this, this is going to be such an important lesson to you. Because I'm sure you've been told your whole life that you're not good enough, that your family friend is better than you, that your cousins are better than you, that your siblings are better than you, and that, you know, you're kind of useless. That's how I felt growing up. And then I realized they weren't saying that, like my parents weren't saying that to make me feel like a failure. They were saying that hoping that it would break through and make me better, that I'd want to improve. But it definitely did not have that effect. And I believe their opinion as fact, and that kept me down for so long. The other thing that I realized in my 30s that I wish I could tell my 20-year-old self is that no one really knows what they're doing. Like, you think the 30-year-olds got their stuff together and they know exactly what's going on. No way. I still don't know what's going on. Sure, I have more experience. Sure, I am more confident. Sure, I am wiser. But every decision I make, I don't really know if that's right. There's really no playbook in life. Whatever people tell you is the playbook in life is not the playbook in life. Again, that's just their opinion. It is not fact. So again, you need to learn to make your own decisions, and you need to realize that, what you're feeling now about like, am I doing the right thing? You're always going to feel that. You're not going to get to 30 or 40 and 50 and suddenly be like, oh, suddenly something happens in your brain chemistry that makes you just know the purpose of life or know the rules of life or know the meaning of life. No one knows. No one knows what they're doing. Even the CEO of big companies are just making decisions going, I hope this is it because I am not sure. Because no one can tell the future. No one can predict what's going to happen. What you're seeing with adults that are like, feel like they're knowing what they're doing is like, they're just more confident about their decisions, right? So in your 20s, you're less confident about your decisions because you don't have enough data of making wrong decisions to be like, okay, I've done this before. This didn't work out for me, so I'm not going to do it again. Like, you're just building that like repository and library of experience so you can make more confident decisions. Again, it doesn't mean you know what you're doing. We don't. We never will. Honestly, guys, there are so many more lessons I can share with you. But the last thing I'm going to leave you with is that true wealth is not things, is not stuff. It's not mansions. It's not fame. It's not the latest Chanel bag. Those things are great. I love my luxury items. I love buying expensive things because they make me feel good. But that's not true wealth. Like, that's not the benefit of being rich. Like, I have bought so many designer bags in my lifetime, and I think I cared way more about designer branded stuff in my 20s than I did in my 30s when I could actually afford a lot more of them, because I think in my 20s, I was looking at those things to kind of fill a hole, something missing, maybe it's to fill my insecurities. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel expensive. And I thought the key to that was things and stuff. But it isn't, guys. You're gonna feel the same amount of insecurity in your Gucci, jacket than you will in your Walmart jacket. Maybe the fact that you spent the money is gonna pad that a little bit, and other people are gonna see you in Gucci and treat you a little bit different. But deep down inside, it's not really gonna help. So I think true wealth is investing in yourself. It's not investing in stuff. And I wish I spent less money on designer things and more money on my education, on my talent, on my skills, on trying new experiences so I can learn and reflect more about myself as a person. That's what I wish I did. That's what drove me to create this Make Life Beautiful brand and branch and podcast, because I realized investing in your own self-learning and self-growth is the key to wealth, is the key to happiness. And although, guys, I still recommend you buy a few designer items if you can afford it, not because it's going to make you a better person or make you feel any different at the end of the day, but that little boost of confidence you get in the way you carry yourselves, if it does make a difference to you, that's worth having. But don't make it the sole focus of your life is to buy the mansion, buy the Porsche, and to fly first class. They are great. I call them pleasures because they are great for the moment. They are great for when you post it on Instagram and other people are like, oh my gosh, you're on an amazing holiday. But guys, that does not last very long. You feel great for that moment. And as soon as you take the jacket off, as soon as those comments stop, you are back to being wherever you were. But when I invested in my education, when I learned something new, and I could share that knowledge with other people, and other people react with eyes wide and being inspired, that makes me feel more expensive and more respected than wearing a Chanel tweed jacket. And also, it makes a difference in your life in the long term, because if you're investing in your self-growth, self-learning, and education, you can get 10 Chanel jackets at the end of the day when you grow your business and you grow your dream, your entrepreneurial journey, and you make more money and you grow your wealth and your finances. You can buy 10 jackets later, So don't feel like just accumulating stuff is gonna make you like be a different person. It's not. I've tried. I've bought a lot of stuff. I spent a lot of money doing that. And at the end of the day, self-growth and self-learning made a way bigger difference to my life than those things. Although they're very nice to have. I gotta say, like, you gotta have both. I'm not saying don't buy them. They make you feel great, but use that feeling to then, fill the inside. It's about being beautiful inside and out. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and don't forget to check out my courses and workshops on makelifebeautiful.today. I can't wait to work with you guys and help you achieve your dreams, help you with your self-learning, help you with your growth, help you discover something about yourself that you didn't before. And of course, I'll be back next week with a new podcast, new content. Let me know what kind of things you want me to talk about and teach you guys. I love doing this. And don't forget, the Make Life Beautiful podcast is available on all podcast platforms. So don't forget to follow and support. Thank you guys so much. Until next week, love you. Mwah.
Your spirit, mind, and body just to get me where you want me.